Okay, here I am today for our 40th day of our Corona confinement, aka retreat. And I'm real excited today. Apparently, a lot of you were interested in hearing more about the 9 Incapabilities. This hair is going to make me crazy. Somebody keep the scissors away from me or I'm going to hate it even more. I love my hair. I'm glad I got it. Ready for that haircut when the time comes. Anyway, yeah, you were all pretty interested in the 9 Incapabilities. So I wanted to share them with you today. As a matter of fact, there was so much I wanted to share about it. I'm hoping we get to understanding today. If we don't, we'll be doing that probably on, let's see, probably on Tuesday, because tomorrow we're going to do our Sunday church, and we're going to be talking about prayer. So a lot of people have a lot of questions about prayer. So we're going to do that tomorrow. And then Monday, we're going to do a 6-week checkup. It's going to be our 6th week since we started our retreat. And so we're going to review some of the things, we've been talking about, and hopefully you'll be able to measure your progress and see if you've changed, how you've changed, but we're going to get to that later. Today, we're going to talk about those 9 Incapabilities. This comes from the Buddhist tradition. And like I say, we may not even get to understanding today, although I did weave it in here, so hopefully we'll move along with it okay. So, as I said, it comes from the Buddhist tradition, and it says, the Arahant. Now, an Arahant is a person that has achieved enlightenment. You know how we talk about the 4 quadrants of consciousness? On the top, we have intuitive sensing, and on the bottom, we have human thoughts and human emotion. So this is when the Arahant is one that has moved up to reside in the upper quadrants and live in but not of the lower part, which is called of the house. So it said, the Arahant in whom the intoxicants are destroyed. Now, when they say intoxicants, they are talking not only about drugs that people use or alcohol or whatever to escape or to dull the suffering in life, when they have gotten past the need to look for escape from the lessons that came here to be learned, when he has done his task. We all come here to learn. So when the person that has come here to learn has gotten that lesson, has laid low his burden, that means he did what he had to do, put down his, probably Jesus would say he did his work and put down his cross, who has attained salvation, who has utterly destroyed the fetter of rebirth. Now, this is talking about karma and having lifetime after lifetime. And if you don't learn your lesson, you get to come back and repeat it. Now, whether that is lifetime to lifetime, it can also mean, as we teach in Unity, how often you are presented with a lesson, which is an opportunity, a do-over, to see if you get it this time. We've been talking about how the position we're in right now and the lessons that going through this Corona experience is teaching us that we have a lot of awareness is being brought to us, and we have the opportunity to either learn from it or repeat it. The only reason you don't want to repeat it is the next time you repeat it, it's more painful. I'm just going to twist this a little bit. There we go. That's more centered there. Okay. So So when he has utterly destroyed the fetter of rebirth, who is emancipated, which means freed, by true gnosis, and the word gnosis means knowing. That's like, you got it now. He is incapable of perpetrating 9 things. Interestingly enough, these 9 things can be compared very easily to what we call the 10 Commandments. So, but these are the Buddhist incapabilities. So when you achieve enlightenment, when you achieve spiritual mastery, you will be incapable of deliberately depriving a living creature of life. He is incapable of taking what is not given, so it constitutes theft. He is incapable of sexual impurity. He is incapable of deliberately telling lies. He is incapable of laying up treasure for indulgence in worldly pleasure as he used to in the life of the house. When they say the life of the house, they're talking about your life before spiritual awakening. He is incapable of taking a wrong course through partiality. He is incapable of taking a wrong course through hate. He is incapable of taking a wrong course through stupidity. He is incapable of taking a wrong course through fear. These 9 things, the arahant, in whom the mental intoxicants are destroyed, who has lived the life, whose task is done, whose burden is laid low, who has attained salvation, who has utterly destroyed the fetter of becoming, who is emancipated by the true gnosis is incapable of perpetrating. So, wow, that's a lot, isn't it? Did you find that you could relate to any of the 9 incapabilities? I will pretty much guarantee that you are probably anyone who's already spiritually alert, awakened, knowing there's more. So you probably identified one that you say, I think I got that one. For me, I got it about lying. I don't lie. I'm not lying. I don't lie. It's even hard for me to try to surprise someone. I have to lie to them to try to surprise something. That makes it hard. Now, is it because I'm afraid God's going to punish me? No. It's because I understand the spiritual principle, the law of cause and effect. So I'm not going to do it to myself. I want to go back again. So when it talks about in whom the intoxicants are destroyed, that means the things that we try to use to escape learning our lesson. A lot of us, we came here to learn, but then we don't want to learn the lesson. Let's say we came here to learn that we are a valuable, intelligent being. Now, with that lesson to come into this life, we may have come in with an inferiority complex and then wound up with parents who reinforce that error thought. Now, why would that happen? So that we can get strong and learn that we are beautiful, beloved children of God who are capable, worthy, wonderful. So the challenges we have in our lives are things that came to make us stronger. And whenever we try to evade our lesson, we are unable to learn it. So, and they say that, the person that like tap dances on your last nerve, that is the person who can be your best and most important teacher. Why? Because they're bringing you the lesson you came here to learn. So because I believe that I have achieved the incapability of lying, lying is not a temptation to me. It's not even a temptation. Taking a wrong course through hate. I don't hate. I don't like sometimes. I don't like a lot. I don't think I go as far as to hate, but I'm not so willing to put a check mark on that one and say that I got it. I will copy these 9 incapabilities in the comment section later so that you can take them and ponder them. Getting back to the intoxicants again for a minute, intoxicants are things that distract or that are diversions, they're lusts or desires of the lower consciousness. And if we look at the word intoxicant, toxic, Kent. There's that word toxic. That means it's poison to you. You're not going to learn your lesson if you don't receive it. So we're all here to learn, and we're here to learn individually and collectively as well. So I'm going to try to move into understanding now, which is our topic of the day, our spiritual faculty or power of the day. The word understanding, if you look at it, there's one of those little, they're one of those games. Can you guess what this means? And it's the word standing with a line, and underneath it, it says under. Well, understanding is like your feet can represent understanding, because when you stand, you're firm and you're standing on a foundation. And the quality of that foundation is what you determine. Whether you're standing on a strong foundation of self-discipline and truth, or whether you're standing on a foundation of a house of cards or sand or something that can fall out from under you. I saw a picture on I don't know, it was something on the internet the other day, and it was these 3 people. It was a real picture, and they were sitting on like an overhang. And I got creeped out just looking at it, because all I could figure is, boom, down you go. And I just had a hard time even looking at it. But that to me would not be a strong foundation. So understanding something gives us a firm foundation. You may be able to think about that day when you got it about something, when you came to understand how it works. My example's kind of silly. We used to play Pinochle when I was a young married, many years ago. I don't know, more than 50. There was a couple we hung out with, and we played Pinochle. Well, seriously, I mean, I'm not bragging. I consider myself to be pretty smart. I am a member of Mensa, and yet I could not get how to bid in Pinochle. I couldn't get it. And my ex-husband, who was my husband at the time, would say, 3 against 1. We're playing 3 against 1. Oh, that bothered me so much. One day, it came to me like a bolt of lightning. I got it. I knew what the bidding was about. And you know what? Once I got it, we never played Pinochle again. I learned my lesson. Well, that's okay, because there's a whole bunch more lessons I'm working on and that I've worked on since then. Whatever the lesson is, try to think of that moment that you understood. Once you understand, you are standing on a firm foundation. Now, the word understanding is very often confused with knowledge or wisdom. But let's try to back up, and because they are different in significant ways. For example, knowledge is having some sort of information, factual information about something. Knowledge of a conspiracy theory is just knowledge about something unproven, unprovable, sketchy. When you have knowledge of something, it's like when you go to school. I remember 6th grade when I first learned about crop rotation, and farming was very different then, but why they turned over the crops and rotated and planted different stuff. And so, but that was knowledge. So I now have knowledge that I got in 6th grade 60 some odd years ago. But I got it after all those years. Oh, and that teacher, oh my gosh, that teacher was so tough. She was really mean. But you know what? Taught me like nobody's business. And I thank her for that today. So you can have knowledge. And then wisdom is applied knowledge. So it is the ability to apply knowledge. And wisdom is connected to understanding. Because we can know something, understand it, and apply it in our lives. That's what it's all about. So knowledge, understanding, and wisdom are 3 different things that work together. And they're 3 different parts of our spiritual gifts. We're here to learn, and as we learn, we are here to create. And this is what's very exciting about our times right now. I've said it the very first day we talked, and that was, we are making history. You're making history. I'm making history. Together, we're all making history. Imagine that you're sitting with a lump of clay in front of you. And we're going to shape it. We're going to shape it into what life will be like. It is not ever going to be the same. And if it is the same, when we're done with this, we're going to be back in the same position we're in another 10, 20, how many ever years. Because the idea is to learn and grow. So this is a growing experience. Einstein said, and this is like, if you ask yourself, what have I been doing in all this time now? For me, I had a conversation with my son last night about how long we've been doing this, and they started on Long Island a little earlier than we did. They started on Friday the 13th. How's that? And we started our daily visits on the 18th of March. But however long we've been doing it, how have you spent your time? Have you gotten any knowledge and understanding out of it? Have you become frustrated or miserable? Now, Albert Einstein, who I might not have agreed with his lifestyle, however, I really liked a lot of the things he said and he taught. But he said, and understand, this was before all the technology we've got now. He talked more about books, even television. I didn't look up his age and stuff like that. I know one of his favorite TV programs was Beanie Boy. Anybody know who Beanie Boy was? I do. Little cartoon character with a hat with one of those propellers on top. And Einstein loved watching Beanie Boy. So there. However, he said, too much entertainment means you start to live vicariously instead of living your own life. If you had to draw, a pie chart, we'll talk about that down the road, but if you had to draw a pie chart and divvy up how much time you spent in each category of your life, how much would you have learning? How much would you have growing? How much would you have interacting with others? So what did you do at that time? When, how we've talked over and over about when we receive input, we ingest, digest, assimilate, and eliminate, which is what we talked about the other day. And what are we ingesting? Because we ingest food. And I am very, very grateful that I went to cooking school when I was in high school. I was trained in the culinary department, so I learned how to cook, and I love to cook. And I'm a vegetarian, but I learned enough about that and enough about nutrition that I always know on your plate, you need a protein, you need a starch, and you need a vegetable. So every plate I eat, unless I'm being really lazy, which happens sometimes, my plate will be pretty much balanced. Sometimes I eat the protein now and the carb later, or starch later, and the fruit or vegetable down there, but it's balanced. So you want to be careful about what you ingest. Could I suck down countless numbers of potato chips? Absolutely. Absolutely. Love potato chips. I started craving French fries yesterday. So I don't know what that's about, but I'm going to work with that. But I have the knowledge, the wisdom, and the understanding that if I make myself French fries, I'm only going to make enough to eat that day. It's not like the banana bread I made this morning that I gave some to my sister, sent some over to the office for her, and I have some for myself, and I have some for the freezer. Don't forget, you can cook. You don't have to eat everything you made right away. I got off track when I was doing that. I don't know. I was back to Einstein and the genius and what did you spend your time doing? Okay, let's talk about the other input we receive. Been watching TV? That's a question we ask ourselves. What have I been ingesting mentally? What have I been ingesting emotionally? What is the quality of the stuff I'm putting in my mind? I find it is very, very hard to see anything on TV that is not either overly violent, overly ego-driven, or overly sexual. Which there's nothing wrong with sex in itself. There's nothing wrong with having a good self-image and wanting to do self-love, not narcissism, but self-love. And there's nothing wrong with having that fight for what's right. I'm a right fighter, so I can get that. But we don't need all the excessive. It's all excessive. Gosh, how many commercials do you see where they're not blowing something up or shooting someone? It's like, see, and when you embrace a teaching such as I embrace, that the thoughts we hold in mind manifest in life, statistically, we are in a more violent culture, and the more violent, and I believe violent input brings violent output. Even with family members, what is your communication like? There is a book on nonviolent communication, which is absolutely amazing and stunning. And you may find that in your life you were either wounded by violent communication, or you might have unknowingly, hurt someone else with words. Words are very powerful. They can heal and they can hurt. And so, the input you've been receiving, A lot of people say it doesn't matter. It's only a movie. It's only a television program. Just consider the possibility. It's more than that. Consider the possibility. It's a seed thought. Remember we talked about the seeds yesterday, that thoughts as seeds? It's a seed thought that wants to live in our head. We have to toss those out. That's one of those intoxicants it talked about in the Nine Incapabilities. The pull of the lower nature is gravitational. But if you think about gravity, that the gravity of the earth is pulling us in through the way that it spins around, the earth spins around, and we're being held down by this gravitational pull. Well, of course, it's hard to break the gravitational pull, whether that is mental, emotional, spiritual, or physical. But we can do it. And when we do it and we rise above it, the more we practice, the easier it is. And we get to know that it is so pleasant to live up there in higher consciousness. We don't want to live down in lower consciousness any longer. That's, and I've said it before, it's not either or. It's to transform the lower consciousness. Remember the Ivory soap commercials? Ivory soap is 99 and 44 100% pure. If that was you, and you had to say, what portion of me is enlightened? Figure it out and figure where you want to go from there. We are told to ask, to seek, and to knock. And in the Bible it says ask, and you get your answer. Seek, and you'll find what you're looking for. Knock, and the door will be opened. All possibilities are there for us. Whew. I hope you enjoyed that today. I got through just about everything that I wanted to, I think. Like I say, there is so much. Oh, wait. I wanted to share a little piece about, this is from The Revealing Word. The Revealing Word is a unity book written by Charles Fillmore. It gives definitions of many words from the metaphysical standpoint. And you know that we are exploring what? Making it with metaphysics. Our metaphysics lesson today is that we have the ability and the power, the spiritual faculty of understanding to help us with knowledge and wisdom to grow. So, it says in the Revealing Word about I lost my page. Hang on. Oh, okay. Imagination. Where did it go? Let's see. I have to go back. Oh, there we go. Duh. The faculty of mind that image. I'm under imagination. I'm supposed to be under understanding. I put my marker in the... I always say God does this to keep us humble, right? We all make mistakes rather than get high and mighty. Okay, this is what I wanted to read to you. Spiritual understanding. That's over. Thank you very much for that little heart understanding me. Spiritual understanding is the quickening of the spirit within. Spiritual understanding is the ability of the mind to apprehend and realize the laws of thought and the realization of ideas to one another. And you've got it. And I've got it. And I'm going to take these 9 incapabilities, and as soon as we're done, I'm going to go and copy and paste them to the bottom of the comment section of this video. And if you are watching this on the YouTube, you will see that there is a subscribe button in the lower right-hand corner. Please subscribe so you don't miss any of these fun visits we have. So, tomorrow we're doing church. We're going to talk about prayer and the 5-step prayer method. It's a good one. You'll want it. And for now, have a bright, blessed beautiful, better than average day. Bye-bye.